Friends and viewer, good day. Today, let us discuss about the book of Charles Dicken. I have in my hand Dickens' book, a very beautiful novel, the name of which is Oliver Twist, Charles Dicken, by Charles Dicken. As Charles Dicken is a very famous person, an English writer, a novelist. He born in 1812. So Dicken was very famous for his novels, Oliver Twist, David Copperfield, Hard Times, Tale of Two Cities, and Great Expectation. These are the famous novels of Charles Dickens. So Charles Dickens is a very famous novelist and of his time, and he's still inspiring most of us, those people who are well acquainted with English literature. Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist, I had selected this novel for you. Let us discuss this. So Oliver Twist is born in a workhouse in 1830s England. His mother, whose name no one knows, is found on the street and dies just after giving birth to Oliver. Oliver spends the first 9 years of his life in a badly run home for young orphans, and then is transferred to a workhouse for adults. After the other boys bully him, Oliver, into asking for more food, because he was hungry, no sufficient food had been given to him, so he asked for more. So Mr. Bumble, the parish beadle, the in charge of that place, offered £5 to anyone who will take the boy away from the workhouse. Oliver narrowly escaped being apprenticed to a British chimney sweep and is eventually apprenticed to a local undertaker, Mr. Sowerberry. When the undertaker, other apprentice, Noah Claypole, make a disparaging comments about Oliver's mother, Oliver attacks him and incurs the Sowerberry wrath. Desperate, Oliver runs away at dawn and travels towards London. What happened afterward? Outside London, Oliver, starved and exhausted. He ran towards London by foot, very starved and exhausted, meets Jack Dawkins, a boy of his own age. Jack offers him shelter in the London house of benefactor. So, not knowing about his fate, Oliver went with Jack Dawkins to the London. Another person, namely Fagin. It turns out that Fagin is a career criminal who trains orphan to pickpocket for him. After a few days of training, Oliver is sent to the pickpocketing mission with 2 other boys. When he sees them swipe a handkerchief from an elderly gentleman in the street, Oliver is horrified and runs off. He is caught but narrowly escapes. Being convicted of the theft, Mr. Brownlow, a very gentleman, a noble gentleman, the man whose handkerchief was stolen, takes the feverish Oliver to his home and nurses him back to health. Mr. Brownlow is struck by Oliver's resemblance when he saw that on his wall a portrait of a young woman hangs over his wall in his house. Oliver was very familiar with the portrait of and Mr. Brownlow's home. But two young adults in Fagan's gang, Bill Sykes and his lover Nancy, capture Oliver again and returns him back to Fagan. Poor Oliver. Fagan sends Oliver to assist Sykes in a burglary. Oliver is shot by a servant of the house, and after Sykes escapes, is taken in by the woman who lived there, Mrs. Maylie, and her beautiful adopted niece, Rose. They grow fond of Oliver, and he spends an idyllic summer with them in the countryside. But Fagan and mysterious man named Monks are sent on recapturing Oliver. Meanwhile, it is revealed that Oliver's mother left behind a gold locket. When she died, Monks obtains and destroys that locket. When the Maylies come to London, Nancy meets secretly with Rose and informs her of Fagan's design. But a member of Fagan's gang overhears the conversation, because Nancy belongs also to that Fagan's gang. But she, being a lady, she feels pity for Oliver, and he tells the design, the devilish design of Fagan's gang, and told that what is going to happen. When word of Nancy's disclosure reached Sykes, he brutally murdered Nancy and flees London. Pursued by his guilty conscience and an angry mob, he inadvertently hangs himself while trying to escape. So Mr. Brownlow, with whom the Maylies have reunited Oliver, confronts Monks and wrings the truth about Oliver's parentage for him. It is revealed that Monks is Oliver's half-brother. Their father, Mr. Layford, was unhappily married to a wealthy woman and had an affair with Oliver's mother. Agnes Fleming. Monks has been pursuing Oliver all along in the hopes of ensuring that his half-brother is deprived of his share of the family inheritance. What happened that Mr. Brownlow forces Monks to sign over Oliver's share to Oliver. Moreover, it is discovered that Rose is Agnes' younger sister. Hence, Oliver aunt Fagan is hung for his crime. Fagan admits his hand. Finally, Mr. Brownlow adopts Oliver, and they all went with Malice, retired to a blissful existence in the countryside. So, let us discuss about the character involved in this novel. There are various characters, very interesting character in this novel. First of all, the first hero of this novel is Oliver Twist. In a novel protagonist, Oliver is portrayed as born in a workhouse, an orphan boy. Dickens uses his situation to criticize public policy toward the poor in 1830s England. Oliver is between 9 and 12 years old when the main action of the novel occurs. Though treated with cruelty and surrounded by the coarseness for most of his life, he is a pious, innocent child, and his charms draw the attention of several wealthy benefactors. His truly identity is central mystery of the novel. Another character, a devilish character, an antagonist of this, a Fagan, a convening career criminal. Fagan takes in homeless children and trains them to pickpockets for him. He is also a buyer for other people's stolen goods. He rarely commits crime himself, preferring to employ others to commit for them, and often suffer legal retribution. So, Nancy, a young prostitute and one of the Fagan's former child pickpocket. Nancy is also Bill Sykes' lover. Her love for Sykes and her sense of moral decency come into conflict when Sykes abuses Oliver. Despite her criminal lifestyle, she is among the noblest characters in the novel. In effect, she gives her life for Oliver when Sykes murders her for revealing Monk's plot. Rose Maylie, Agnes Fleming's sister, raised by Mrs. Maylie after death of Rose's father, a beautiful, compassionate, and forgiving young woman. Rose is novel's model of female virtue. She established a loving relationship with Oliver. Another, Mr. Brownlow, a well-off gentleman who serves as Oliver's first benefactor. Mr. Brownlow owes a portrait of Agnes Fleming, engaged to Mr. Leafort's sisters when she died. Throughout the novel, he behaves with compassion and common sense and emerges as natural leader. Monk's a sickly, vicious young man, prone to violent fits and teeming with inexplicable hatred. With Fagin, he schemed to give Oliver a bad reputation. Bill Sykes, a brutal professional burglar, brought in Fagin's gang. Sykes is Nancy pimp and lover. He treats both her and his dog Bull Eye with odd compassion and cruelty. Mr. Bumble, a pompous self-portrait beadle, a minor church official for the workhouse where Oliver is born. Though Mr. Bumble preaches Christian morality, he behaves without compassion towards the paupers under his care. Dickens mercilessly satirizes his self-righteousness, greed, hypocrisy, and folly, of which his name is obvious symbol. Agnes Fleming, Oliver's mother, after falling in love with becoming pregnant by Mr. Leaford, she chooses to die anonymously in a workhouse. Another character, Mr. Leaford, Oliver Monk's father, who dies along event, Mr. Losburn, Mrs. Maylie, a kind, wealthy older woman, the mother of Harry Maylie, an adopted aunt of Rose. Harry Maylie, Mrs. Maylie's son, artful dodger, a very interesting character. Artful dodger is the cleverest of Fagin's pickpocketers. The dodger real name is Jack Dawkins. Though no older than Oliver, the dodger talks and dresses like a grown man. He introduces Oliver's to Fagin. Charlie Bates, Old Sally, Mrs. Corney, Noah Claypole, Charlotte, and these are, ladies and gentlemen, the character involved in this novel. So, let me tell you about the what is the design of Oliver. This is purely a novel of those days of England when there were severe laws and brutal laws for the poor people, for those paupers and those poor people who live on the verge of hunger and thirst. These people suffers badly from the policies of that days of government. And Oliver Twist is one of the best novel, I think, written by Charles Dicken. Beside this, you can find, if you read Great Expectation, The Hard Times, Tale of Two Cities, and these novels, you will find they are a little bit similarity with each other. Dickens portrayed the life of the young children and adults. So, ladies and gentlemen, you will, when you read this novel of Oliver Twist, you will find it a very interesting one. Thank you.